Thank you, Professor Srivastav, Madam President, Professor Habib, Lord Hastings. I'm privileged to be here to share this day with all of you and to accept the honor that you've conferred on me. My warmest congratulations to the graduating class of 2025. SOAS is known across the world for its commitment to knowledge and practice that is reflected in the leaders that this university produces. I join you from the field of law. When I entered the legal profession 37 years ago, I joined the chambers of a legendary criminal lawyer. Of all the lessons I learned there, two in particular were most instructive. First, he said that in order to be a good lawyer, one must develop skills that come only after years of training. Second, regardless of what one personally feels about the client or the case, one must always believe in and rigorously defend their right to a fair trial. I emphasize the importance of skill because that to me seems to be the basis for any lawyering, not least for human rights work. Across the world today, we are seeing the repressive arm of the state working in overdrive to breach and limit the rights of various marginalized and minority communities. There are clear patterns emerging: majoritarian violence, capture of power by oligarchs and corporate interests, the dismantling of democratic institutions, deportation, criminalization of free speech, attacks on universities, and so on and so forth. In the face of this, I believe rights-based movements should respond by rigorously defending first principles in the routine, everyday practice of law. Our clients, both perpetrators and victims, come with dark histories, sometimes easy to sympathize with, and sometimes nearly impossible to. But the purpose of our training is precisely to listen and represent without judgment. Let me give you these examples. Around May 1987, amidst incidents of interreligious rioting, a state police force in India shot dead 44 Muslim men, whose bodies were then dumped in a canal, in what remains one of the worst cases of custodial violence in India. I appeared for the families and were able to help in reversing an order of acquittal into conviction at the appellate stage. As the facts of the case reveal, it was not hard for me to accept a brief of this kind. In sharp contrast to this, I represented a wealthy man in his plea for bail, who, under the influence of alcohol, ran over a fisherwoman while driving his fancy car. The victim was caught between the front wheel and bumper of the car, dragged for a distance, and eventually led to die. The issue raised in court was whether he ought to be served the grounds of arrest, a procedural requirement whose non-compliance would ordinarily entitle the person to be released from custody. My argument was that the necessity of compliance would only be determined by constitutional principles that form the basis of the procedural requirement. If gruesome facts, however unconscionable, were allowed to dilute the protections in law, the first victims of such dilution would be the weakest and the most marginalized. I accept this honor at a time when we see the rule of law being upended and the acceptance of an intolerable new reality, rife with mass atrocities. In this time, it is imperative that we hold on to our core values. This university is characterized by its historical commitment to justice, critical thinking, and fearless scholarship. I am privileged to be here today, celebrating the pursuit of knowledge and commitment to justice, and to a better world with all of you. Thank you very much.